Magandang buhay! Ngayon, ang ating pag-aaralan ay tungkol sa relations and functions. Ano ang pagkakaiba ng relations sa functions or ano ang functions galing sa relations? Simulan na natin. Relation is the set of ordered pairs of input and output values. When we say input, it's an element of the domain, and when we say output, it's an element of the range. Or input is the first component and output is the second component. Input, first set of values. Output, second set of values. Okay, so pag-aaralan natin ang first component. So in general, we call it domain. It's a relation, the set of all first component. Domain is the first component, or sometimes we call it input or independent variable. While range is referring to the set of all second coordinates or component. Okay, we call it the output value or the dependent variable. Okay. Now take note that the graph of a relation is the set of coordinates. Okay, when we say coordinate, that's simply a point on the graph. Okay. There are several ways to write a relation. First, by ordered pairs. Second, by table. Third, by equation or a rule or a formula. Another one is by graphs and by mapping. Okay, let's proceed to an example of an ordered pair. For instance, we have the relation set of an ordered pair using this, the bracket, or what's this? A bracket or a brace? We have ordered pair with a coordinates of 2, 1, 1, negative 5, 0, 0, 4, 1, 3, 0. And if you are going to state the domain, we have the set 0, 1, 2, 3. This one is referring to the first component. The first set of value, we have 2, 1, 0, 4, 3. And for the range is referring to the second component or second set of values. We have 1, negative 5, 0, 1, 0. But then, take note, do not repeat values when you are writing for the domain and the range. Hindi ulitin. And it's better if you want to write the element of the domain or the range in ascending order. So remember that this is a set. Always use this symbol at the beginning and this one at the end of the element of the particular domain or range. Okay? Kasi set po siya. Okay? Next, another example is, so we can represent it by ordered pair. A relation can be represented by ordered pairs, by table, by equation or rule. We have y equals x plus 1. This is an equation. Or at the same time, a rule, or sometimes a formula. And by mapping, so this is an example of mapping. We have two sets. The first set of values and the second set of values with the use an arrow from left to right. Another is by graph. These are the 5 ways to write our relations. Okay? Let's proceed to function. Ano naman ang function sa relation? Function is a special type of a relation in which element of the domain is paired with exactly one element in the range. It shows the relationship that there is exactly one output for every input. Take note that no two ordered pairs have equal abscissas or x value. Ito lang ang tatandaan nyo sa function. Pag sinabing function, walang nauulit na value sa first component or first set of values or sa domain. Dapat ang element of the domain ay walang naulit. Pag may naulit, it's not a function. Ang tawag lang doon ay relation. Okay. So we have here an example of a function and simply a relation or not a function. Because all of these examples are relations, but a few only a function and there are also not a function. For instance, by ordered pairs, so we have here negative 4, 3, negative 1, 2, 0, negative 4, 2, 3, 3, negative 3. This is a function. Kasi walang naulit na first value or first component. Negative 4, negative 1, 0, 2, 3. May naulit ba doon? Wala. That's why this is a function. How about this? Set of 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 1, 0, 0, negative 1. Not a function kasi naulit yung 0 as the first element or first component. By table, our domain or the first component referring to x and our second component referring to y. If you notice, yung kulay blue na row, so walang naulit dito. Negative 8, negative 3, 0, 2, 7, meaning it's a function. While yung isa, negative 8, negative 2, 0, negative 2, 7, naulit yung negative 2, meaning it's not a function. How about for mapping? Okay? There are 4 types of correspondence. The one-to-one correspondence, many-to-one correspondence, one-to-one correspondence, one-to-many correspondence, and many-to-many correspondence. The only functions are the one-to-one and many-to-one correspondence. Okay? Now, if you notice, the first column or the first set referring to the domain and the second set referring to the range, and we use an arrow from left to right. If you notice, for one-to-one, one element, for every one element, that's mapped to only one element in the second column. While many-to-one, if you notice, there is only one arrow, okay? Starting arrow from the left, lahat lang siya isa, papunta sa kanan na set of values. If you notice, na-repeat yung 4. Naulit yung 4, meaning that's only one value for 2 particular values sa range. Okay, that's many-to-one. How about not function? One-to-many. Naulit yung 9 sa first component, and this is the set of the domain. So, hindi siya pwede. Then, many-to-many, yung iba, hindi na siya sinasabay yung many-to-many. Pag sinabing many-to-many, okay, may naulit sa first component at may naulit sa second component. That's many-to-many. These are examples of functions and not functions, and these are the different ways to represent a relation and functions. Another one is by graph. We apply here vertical line test. Take note, we apply here vertical line test. Okay? So when you draw a vertical line and passing through the graph exactly 1 point, then the graph is said to be a function. For instance here, dito yung graph. Itong dotted line, that's the vertical line test. And it intersect the graph in 1 point, meaning it's a function. While the other graph, the vertical line, itong dotted line, nag-intersect sa graph 2 points, meaning it's not a function. It's only a relation. Okay? Now, how about for equation or rule? So, paano natin malalaman na that's a function or not function? Ang gagawin mo ay, okay, tatandaan nyo lang ang exponent ng variable y or the second component. Y is referring to the second component, while x, the independent variable, that's referring to the first component. So, kung ang y may exponent na even number like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, it's not a function. But then if the exponent is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, odd number, it's a function. So, here, y to the first exponent niya 1, this is a function. And this is y squared, not a function. Another example, y equals x squared minus 1 is a function because the exponent of y is 1. Now, take note that, tandaan ito, all functions are relations, but not all relations are functions. Kung makikita nyo dito sa Venn diagram, ang function is only a small portion of the rectangle which represent the relation. Okay? Take note that function is a relation. Okay? But relation is not a function. Nakita nyo, ang relation napakalawak. Hindi lahat siya ay function. Okay? So, another, so how to use the functional notation. Okay? The way a function is written, it is meant to be a precise way of giving information about the function without rather lengthy written explanation. The popular function notation is f of x instead of y. Take note, for instance, y equals x. Instead of writing y, we use the name of a function, which is f, or we can use other letters, j, h, I, j, m, n. Okay? So that's the name of the function with the independent variable x or input. This is being read as f of x, or f is a function of x. We have the example, y equals 3x plus 1. We replace y by f of x. Kaya nga in functional notation, x here is the input value, while when you substitute the value of x, then multiply to 3, added to 1, that's became the output or the y value. Okay. So take note, f of x is not mean f times x. Okay? So traditionally, functions are referred to by a single letters, namely as f, g, h, and so on. Okay? So, yun. So tatandaan nyo sa function and relations that all functions are relations, but not all functions are relations.